ku am njëriñ la ku am yërmande la.
I'm always very emotional when I am talking about him. That is,
he's a human being. He does not want to hurt anyone.
In the heart of Banjul, where stories rise with the dawn tide, a journey of service began. A young boy, notebook in hand, learning that power means little without purpose, that true greatness is measured not by the titles one earns, but by the lives one touches. This is the story of a man whose life has been an offering. To know Dr. Faal is to hear first from those who saw his promise.
Part of the history of the SJDM, and in a very interesting way. In 2013, 2014, we had to start the courses at the SJDM. The first cohort was coming to walk in as freshmen. And there we had to justify our existence at the level of the Senate and the university, that we had the requisite capacity, lecturer capacity, to be able to call ourselves a faculty and even for them to recognize us as a school. Those were desperate times. And it was a good thing that I had already known Mr. Faal in other areas and in actual publishing, because apart from his qualifications as a former school paper editor in the United States, qualifications in journalism, press work, he also worked with me in a magazine that we started in 1989-90.
Banjul, his cradle and classroom, a city that taught him resilience and community. Within its narrow streets, he learned empathy from the humble, discipline from the faithful, and courage from the ordinary. Those early lessons would shape a man who would later serve at the highest levels, yet never forget where he came from.
Colonially called Batos, under colonialism during the colonial period. And during that period, Banjul was a very close-knit society. It was not as populated as it is now. In fact, right here at the arch was like the end of Banjul. So it was community, and everybody knows each other. Growing up as a young person, you tend to know everybody in your community. From one Johnson to the other Johnson of the street, you know everybody. And families knew each other. So there was that close-knit, and that has actually influenced my growing up in the city and in the community. That spirit of camaraderie and spirit of togetherness. During our time, virtually all our peers, age group, you go to the normal Dara, and then also you go to the Western Education School. And the educational system was very, very thorough, and it was built around the British education curriculum. So virtually the curriculum that was used in the colonial administration in Britain was the same curriculum that was used in Banjul or in the Gambia. So the books, and then even the instruction, level of instruction, and also the type of instruction was all British.
From that first meeting, a respect was born, grounded in intellect, humility, and a devotion to the Gambia's future.
I first came in contact with him at the Gambia Press Union School of Journalism, where he was invited as a guest lecturer. And then when I moved to the university, I came across, we crossed paths as lecturer and student. So Dr. Faal was teaching us media law and ethics. And in his class, we have seen him as a big brother, because in my class we have mostly experienced persons who have worked in the media for over 10 years. We were the first batch, so we saw him actually as a mentor, not just as a lecturer, as a mentor, as a brother, but as a coach as well. He is giving us all he could from his heart, as an experienced person who has worked both locally and internationally.
Academically, he will support you financially. He will do things beyond just being a lecturer, and he will get to a point that you feel very comfortable, you feel very much at ease to see him as a safe space where you can talk about a lot of things, and all of these things will be kept between the two of you. And like, he's very secretive, he tries to protect people, and you know, it's very emotional to honestly talk about Dr. Faal. He's one person that I'll give an example. We started to interact with him when we were doing, I remember, second year, maybe media law and ethics. He became our lecturer. Then we rose to advanced news writing and all of those other courses. Every semester when particular journalism related courses like departmental requirements came, we would always want him to appear on the timetable. That is because of the comfort he will give you, his way of assessment. He will put you through. He will make sure you really love what you are doing and inspire you in his teaching style and so on.
Section 1, right? Oh.
Fortunately for me, I'm doing 2 courses with Dr. Samba Faal. I'm doing creative writing, but also media law and ethics. During my time, especially for the first 2 classes that we had, I've observed Mr. Samba Faal is actually someone that is very tolerant, not even within the class, but even out of the class. He's one that you will see and say, please, Maima, leave Mumaila. So that's amazing. It means this is not one that only looks within the comfort of the classroom, but even outside, this is someone that you can look at and emulate.
I heard about Dr. Faal well before he started teaching me, because I could remember there was a time a friend of mine told me that once Dr. Faal lecture you, you will be able to understand the real meaning of journalism and the ethics that comes along with journalism. And then I can vividly see that the time I started having the lecture with Dr. Samba Faal. I am able to understand my role as a journalist and how I should carry myself as a journalist within the society. And this will definitely help me to be able to build my career, but not only to be able to build my career, but to be able to equip me to be that journalist that will be able to feed the society with the relevant information that they needed based on the ethics and the laws that I received from his class.
Together, they would lay the foundation for a generation of journalists and thinkers.
Professional and our own level of our own Ndongo Banjul, we tease each other. We have a lot of pep calls, and we enjoy just being friends and colleagues. But then the output is what convinced me, because I've listened to his classes when he teaches ethics. I've talked to his students, and they are pretty satisfied. And those who interact with him, from the reports I get, is that they're satisfied with his methods. A gentleman.
Ni Samba Faal mel ti famille bi mel ko ti mbedd mi su ma ko bëggee wax yëpp doo leen ñibbi tey waaye dinaa leen wax tuuti rek. Samba nit ku dal la, ku am yar, ku am teggin, ku teey, ku am sago. Samba jox na respect ñëpp. Kulluhum kuy dox rek Samba jox na la cër, jox na la respect. Samba nit ku baax la, nit ku doylu la, nit ku yaru la. Jàng la Samba njëkk a bëgg jàng. Samba nangu woon na jàng. Jàng na Alxuraan, jàng na anglais yëpp la def. Bu ngeen ko gis nii de Alxuraan bu ko tiimee rek ngeen waaru.
Journalism became his first calling, the art of listening, questioning, and defending truth.
When I was going to school, I didn't only restrict myself to the school curriculum. I used to read widely. You know, I was a member of the Gambian National Library, registered with the National Library, where you can go and borrow books, take home and read. So I read very widely outside the school curriculum. And that was what motivated me to be a writer. And also that was what motivated me to focus on journalism and politics. On my way, growing up in an African setup, African culture, and then you were exposed to different cultures. I left home as a young person and then returned home as a man. And during that period, I have diverse experience.
Through words, he found his purpose to give voice to the voiceless.
That is one of the fastest way of learning anything, growing up or being born in one culture and then raised in another culture and then growing up in another culture. So you have an international cultural experience and also you have an international educational exposure. So all this adds up to the person who you are. I used to read a lot. I explore a lot, not because I'm so much. I believe in what is written, what is being written. You have to be analytical. I am more of an eclecticist. An eclecticist is somebody who takes the best of everything and then try to form something that would fit in the objective realities of your society. You cannot take Marxism from somewhere and the social dynamics are totally different from your society. You want to apply it in your own society. That would be an exercise in futility. And that is why we have seen a lot of failures in African intellectuals or post-colonial African leaders trying to establish communist societies, communist states in our African societies.
léeg-léeg di nga gis nit ñu ne kii dafay dimbale ay nit nanga waaye tout du dimbale famille am léegi nga dégg ko sona nekk diw de dafa leen dimbale kii dafa dimbale waaye ñi mu bokkal du leen dimbale waaye Samba façon boobu moom boobu loolu dalu ko Samba famille bi ñun ñëpp nag waaw lu ko dalee si lu ko dalee ba suñu taaw bi ki nga xam ne mooy suñu taaw bi suñu taaw bu mag bi ki nga xam ne mooy suñu mag ñun ñëpp lu ko dalee si moom ba ñi nga xam ne ñoom lañu bokkal papa ñoom ñëpp amul ku Samba dimbal wut waaw te dimbale bu muy dimbale yëpp ku muy defal daf lay wax ne na am suñu diggante maak yow waaye xam nga lu baax du mën a nëbbu soo defalee nit ku baax dara lu baax foog mu ñëw wax ko waaye moom du dee bëgg loolu waaye nag loolu foog mu am.
One thing many people may not know about Samba is his great sense of humor. Samba could be very funny and make you laugh with his string of jokes, especially after having a good meal. That's the time you know that you have served him with his favorite, and you've done it well, and he has enjoyed it. He had created space to respond to the needs of the family. His responsibilities as a husband, as a father, were never neglected. Jërëjëf Fall. He invested in us, in our education, in our social lives, and he invested heavily in building what I call a home where we all cherish. And no matter where we went, we always look forward to coming back home because we know it is home, it's fun, it's life. His children all look up to him as he continues to inspire them to be hardworking, to be pious, to be disciplined.
ETG stand up, forever to Kanife. Let's go. This to this week we move as one. Ding it koyo, ding yo, ding it koyo. Oh yeah, we day together from the campus to the street. No matter the weather, UTG for life. We shine like never. Students week we rise forever. Ding koyo ganika wala fula. We vibe and one love. Hakuna matata. Knowledge is power, so we climb higher. UTG light the fire. Started from the boost, now we on stage. Lectures to laughter, we break the cage. Unity and rhythm, no room for rage. Young bold minds, we set the page. Culture day to talent night. We dance, we cook, we speak.
I'm still learning. I still learn, I still explore. And that is why I'm in academia. I learn from students just as much I exchange or impart knowledge to students. That is why every now and then you hear people talk about participating in projecting the will of the people. And in most cases, international instruments. I also learn from them, Learning is a continuous process. It's just not an event. You go to university, you have your diploma, BA, MA, PhD, postgrad, postdoc, and everything, and that's it. No, it's continuous. As long as you live, you have to learn, because everything changes. Society is dynamic. It's not static. So you have to learn to be attuned with the realities of society.
That pursuit of truth would later guide him through every other role as politician, reformer, and diplomat.
I have been a political scientist. I have been a journalist and a writer. I started as a politician, as a youth. I was very much into radical politics, not organized politics. I did not believe or join any political party. I have my own views, very radical views about society and about governance and about government and so forth. But then I was also very much into writing. When I went abroad for further studies, that I became very much involved in journalism. I started my education. I first went to Denmark, and then from there to Holland. And then I studied, and then I worked for an organization called the Movement for Political World Union. And I started as a student intern and then became the office manager of the institution. And the institution deals with world politics. And they have a monthly newsletter called Political World Union. And I was the editor. I became the editor of that newsletter. So I became a member of the Netherlands Federation of Journalists and also the International Federation of Journalists. And from there on, I became a stringer, or like a reporter, for the Third World Press Agency in Copenhagen. I was responsible for writing stories and news on African affairs. So I became very much interested in journalism. And that was why I said I was going to study journalism. But then I have a very strong backing or background in political science. And that was how I combined both of them, journalism and political science.
From town clerk to mayor of Banjul, from minister to ambassador, each chapter of his life carried one constant: service. He led not from above, but from beside.
I became mayor, or I got into politics by accident. I'm not a political animal, definitely. I came here, in fact, I was appointed when I was in the US by the then Secretary General, Jebis Langley, to return home and work with the Ministry of Information. And there was the UNESCO-sponsored project. And I was to work with a UNESCO consultant. And it was then that I was convinced to stay and then at least work in the Gambia. And I was convinced by then Dean Nana Gray Johnson, to join him to start a magazine called Topic Magazine. And Topic Magazine was the first monthly magazine in the Gambia. So we set it up under the guidance of Nana. Nana was the editor-in-chief, I was the features editor, and then we had something Job as the news editor. But after the first two issues also, I had to leave. Then I had to move to the Banjul City Council as town clerk then. Town clerk is like the chief executive officer. That was how I got into the Banjul City Council as town clerk in 1990, And then I was the chief executive officer up to 94 when the coup happened, when the coup took place, military coup, and then we had governors or military officers in all the regions as governors, or heads of the councils. So in Banjul, we had Antuman Saho. Then after 1 year, Antuman Saho was appointed ambassador to Taiwan. So then I was asked to take over as mayor. So in 1995, I became mayor.
I don't think I have words to describe Dr. Faal, because any adjective I used, positive adjective I used to describe Dr. Faal would be short of what he actually is. So I could just say he's a human being. He does not want to hurt anyone. And that tells you the kind of person he actually is. So he was very instrumental in our growth and development as students, but not only as a lecturer, but he was there for us as a big brother. So he provides that brotherly guidance. So if I really want to say he is good, he is more than good. If I really want to say he's exceptional, he is more than exceptional. So just to say that wherever he is, we appreciate him as his former students, and we are proud of him, and we're looking forward to seeing more.
Recent, when I came back after the completion of my master's, Dr. Faal, I reached out to him just to say hi, because he's been a consistent mentor, someone that continues to inspire us all the time. I talked to him about a proposal, like interest of getting into mainstream academia, for instance, getting to lecture in some particular courses. And he was very, very excited, and he gave advices beyond my expectation. That call was just meant for us to, interact after not seeing each other for so long and so on. But it turned out to be an inspiration. It turned out to be another page, like another chapter of my life, through his guidance, the advices he gave, the mentorship. Like I said, Your Excellency, I honestly like to talk about Dr. Faal so much, to an extent that I'm always very emotional when I am talking about him.
I was mayor throughout from 1995 to 2002. And then 2002, I was appointed Minister of Youth and Sports. And according to the appointer, the person who appointed me then, President Yahya Jammeh then, what he told me was he was appointing me as Minister of Youth and Sports because he has seen what I have been doing for the young people. And then he wanted to tap on that and continue to work with me to do something for the young people. That's how I got into politics. And I was minister for 5 years, youth, sports, and religious affairs. And then, of course, during that day, you wake up today, and then tomorrow you are sacked. I was out, so I went back to academia, and then I contested elections. I won as Mayor of Banjul. Then, after 4 years, that was it again. I was sacked again, but this time not by the executive, but by the people of Banjul, like by word. So that is democracy. That is the beauty of democracy. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. But the people decide, that's it. If the majority of people feel that they want a thief to be their leader or they want a murderer to be their leader, that is democracy. That's the people. That's what the people want. And they live with that, And when I lost the elections, I was appointed ambassador, to Senegal, overseeing Burkina Faso and Mali, So I think throughout all of this, I could say my time as mayor was quite memorable. Memorable in the sense that I was able to work with grassroots people. I was not an intellectual among the people. I brought myself down to the lowest person.
He believed efficiency must walk with empathy and reform must reflect the people's voice.
So for me, he is one that I could learn from and I would never get bored. Whenever he comes to the class, he has a structure, he has something to achieve. And by the end of the class, everyone is wowed with what has been delivered. And he is someone that we all aspire to emulate, and he is someone that we all want to be like.
Therefore, Dr. Samba Faal is somebody that really the Gambian needed, and obviously we will continue to honor him and we will continue to cherish his contribution towards our day-to-day lives and how important it is to shape young individuals that will be able to be the journalists in the near future.
léeg-léeg ma jiite juma ajuma ñu julli juma pare am ku ñëw si man nuyonteeg man dama imam na nga def imam sa bro Samba Faal moo ma defal lii ak lii ak lii am na ñoo xam ne dañuy wax ne sa bro Samba Faal suma doom moo ko sponsor di schoolam ba mu jeex waaw ba kooku dem na université ba mu ngi liggéey tey am na ñu bari ñoo xam ne ñu ngi liggéey si office yi am ñoo xam ne ñu ngi Europe am ñoo xam ne ñu ngi Amérique di jàng am ñoo xam ne ñu ngi am liggéey yu baax ginnaaw yàlla ñoom ñëpp Samba Faal Samba moo leen sponsor ba ñu jeexal ndax moom dafa nekk koo xam ne moom addunaam yëpp jàng la waaw moom daal soo nekkee jàngkat daf lay bëgg si xolam.
In every reform, the Local Government Act, the Finance and Audit Act, his fingerprints remain steady and principled.
I think the media is really doing a lot of good work, but I think there is a lot that needs to be done. As a journalist, you have to be neutral, you have to be ethical, you have to be objective. You cannot be a journalist and also an activist at the same time. You are either a journalist or an activist. But what I have seen here, a lot of journalists transform or morph into activists. And that is not good for journalism. You have to be very, very, very neutral. And there is also the need for a lot of training on ethics and also on governance and also investigative journalism, If you want to put a whole government accountable, you have to understand how government operates, how it works. If you don't know how it works, you cannot hold government accountable. We have seen recently in some media circles where the auditor's report, was being analyzed, and then it was not in depth, and there were gaps, to a point that the authorities that be came to get the upper hand in interpreting the audit report. So these are issues. That is why journalism is not about reading and writing. The journalist should be the most exposed and the most educated to a certain degree. That's why the curriculum for journalism, for studying journalism, is wide. When you want to be an economist, you study maths, calculus, and so forth. You have to know a little of everything, so that is to prepare you, so that whenever you have an assignment, you will be focused and you will know the subject matter. You cannot report on a subject matter if you don't understand the subject matter. And journalism is wide, and politics is wide. That is why, as a journalist, you have to be an all-round. It is only here in the Gambia that journalists are not respected. In America, the journalists are the most educated and they are the most informed.
Behind the public servant lives the family man, gentle, grounded, guided by faith.
ku am njëriñ la ku am yërmande la man ku ma toppatoo la gis nga nataal baa ngi nii màkkal moo ma yóbbu màkka moo ma ajal màkka suma néebi fii loo fi gis Samba Faal ko fi def am na njëriñ am na yërmande am na sutura tey na am na tranga jàng na yaru na
ni ma ko mën a waxee daal mooy ñun ñoo bokk ak moom ñun ñoo ko gën a xam waaw li borom téere bi di wax naan al ahrabu awla nit ku nekk ki la gën a jege moo la gën a xam waaw loo xam-xam demba ma demba gën laa xam demba waaw ñun ñi nga xam ñoo bokk ak moom dañ ko xam bu baax a baax Samba ku baax la Samba ku baax la Samba amul kenn koo xam ne mel nga ni moom si famille bi amut waaw amul kenn koo xam ne mel nga ni moom si famille bi amut waaw amut Samba exemple la boo xam ne rek yàlla daf ko jël rek wàcce ko suñu famille bi waaw ñun nag amuñ dara luñ ko wax lu dul ñaanal ko yàlla waaw ñaanal ko yàlla ndax yu mel noonu ku am ku mel noonu si famille danga ko war a ñaanal yàlla guddal fanam yàggal ko fi.
For Dr. Faal, kindness is not an act, it is a way of being. His humility disarms, his compassion endures. In academia, he traded podiums for purpose, shaping young minds to think critically, to lead ethically, to serve selflessly.
Empathy, equality, and equity, particularly equity, are very important virtues in public administration. If you are a leader and you are given responsibilities, you have to be in a position to delegate responsibilities. You have to be above board. You have to be able to, if you are in a position to help, but not at the detriment of the institution. Democracy and bureaucracy is a deterrent, not a deterrent. It's like an obstacle to development. Too much democracy inhibits inefficiency. Sometimes people say that, it's good to be a bureaucrat, but at the same time, too much of it inhibits inefficiency. So I am not a bureaucrat. I am a practical person. I am a practitioner in whatever I do. And I try to look at the objective realities of the institution that I happen to be, and then with the philosophy that you just pass. Somebody else will come.
To his students, he was more than a lecturer. he was an example. Through that exchange of knowledge, he built more than scholars, he built citizens. At the University of the Gambia, generations continue to cross paths with a man whose lessons go far beyond the classroom.
Robust family man, robust teacher, and his records stand out at the city council, at the municipality. And there's one thing he has that I wish I could put up for myself. He has what we call a scrapbook, and he has put his letters, his appointments, his own articles that he's written from his school days in America. And if you haven't seen that, please go back and ask him that you look through his scrapbook. You will be able to have a solid image of where this man has come through.
I have seen Samba really being proud to see the young lady he took as a wife 35 years ago, that he was able to support her through her career path, through her career journey, and in her dreams to reach where she was, mashallah, seeing that I could do this, but then also I had a pillar, a rock that was also really there for me to lean on. So I'm ever grateful to Samba, really. And I want to say that we have had good moments together. I pray that many more of those would come. And inshallah, Allah would make it happen. Love you, dear, and keep going, inshallah.
They meet him not just as a lecturer, but as a living story of discipline, humility, and devotion to public service.
A national honor is an appreciation of the work and the service that you have rendered for your country. And it was a great honor for the president to at least recognize my contribution to the country and also to the city of Banjul, because then I have served as town clerk, I have served as mayor, and I have also served as minister. So I think that was the consideration, for the services that I have rendered to my country and my community.
To his students, he is both mentor and mirror, reflecting the kind of integrity they hope to embody. Even long after graduation, his lessons echo, guiding those who now lead in their own right. Their impressions paint a portrait of a man whose influence transcends the classroom, a teacher who teaches not just with words, but with the example of a life well lived.
I have said it in my book, in my memoirs, and it is a reflection of what somebody else said. I need no gravestone. I need no memories. I walk with people. I live with people. I conceptualize things with people. And I work with people to make sure that the goals are achieved. That is more sustainable. And that is what is known as living with the objective realities of society. And that is called sustainable development. And that is called politics of development.
From encounter to impression, from lesson to legacy, his impact endures in every mind he has inspired, every heart he has touched. The classroom may close, but his influence remains open, shaping the conscience of a generation. In 2012, the nation honored him with the national insignia, a symbol of gratitude for decades of devotion. Yet his truest reward lies not in medals, but in memories, not in applause, but in the quiet progress of his people. From the humble streets of Banjul to the halls of diplomacy, Dr. Samba Faal's journey reminds us that leadership begins with love and ends with legacy. His heart has served not for recognition but for renewal. His story is the Gambia's story, one of courage, compassion, and conviction, a heart to serve, the life of Dr. Samba Faal, because true power lies not in holding office, but in holding humanity.